Hello, thank you for tuning in. I know my YouTube channel doesn't have the cachet for a video like this, but what I'm hoping to do is hold myself accountable in 2021. So I'm manifesting some goals. I'm going to make those a reality this year. So hang out with me. We're going to run through a whole bunch of information. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications or whatever. But today, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some stuff. Get right back with you. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 items we sold in 2020. We're also going to talk about the biggest mistake we made in 2020. And I'm going to be honest, it was the largest mistake, financial mistake, I've made in my life. So, we're going to go over that. And then finally, we're going to talk about our goals for 2021. So, I'm going to start off with a little bit about myself. My name is not Rusty. A lot of people in the comments, and when I comment on other YouTube videos, go, "Hey Rusty, I get it, it's the channel name, whatever." I just like the name. My name's JD. My wife runs a reselling business. Now, I know I'm in these videos and all that, but the truth is, I don't run the resale business. I help out, make YouTube videos for fun. So, I have a full-time job that is completely unrelated to reselling. When 2020 started, we had been, maybe 3 or 4 years into this reselling side hustle. I call it a side hustle. It's my side hustle. It's really my wife's full hustle. And we had been doing most of our sourcing via thrifting. We had bought a few mystery boxes from some Instagram people, other resellers, etc. I had bought some storage units. We obviously would go garage sailing and stuff. But it was mainly hitting the thrift. That's where we made or sourced most of our goods. Of course, 2020 happened. Going to the thrift stores was less of a thing. Again, I have a full-time job, so my wife would go thrifting during the days. We have 3 kids, can't take the kids to the thrift store. We had to figure something out. So 2020 really became the year of where we decided to hit liquidation pallets. And that's where, if you've watched any of my videos before, most of them have been about unboxing those. And we're having a blast. I love it. And definitely as things kind of get back to normal, hopefully in the next 12 months, we will still pursue the pallet liquidation because I'm having so much fun doing it. We're making great money. And we're just going to keep going down that path. So, let's hit our top 5 sales of 2020. I'm going to start with an honorable mention. I think it would actually be... Let me look here. This would be the second best profitable item, but it's not really related to reselling. I just wanted to throw it out there. When we bought this house in 2017, it's a 4-acre old farmstead that we bought with a 120-year-old house on it. It came with a couple extra items that I had negotiated in the sale. We got a lawnmower, we got a trailer. We also got a 1998 Chevy Silverado with a plow. I have a pretty long driveway. It's a couple hundred yards with a large circle in the back. And we just needed something to be able to clear that. We live in central Illinois. We get a lot of snow and just needed something to take care of it. So this truck came with the house. Well, in 2018, winter of 2018, so our second winter here, the truck broke down. And I'd already put a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, trying to keep it up, and I realized it was becoming too much of a hassle to keep this truck running. So instead, I bought a UTV with a plow. It's Tracker, it's the brand from Bass Pro Shops. And then I took that truck, I jumped it one last time, parked it on an old concrete pad near the back of the property, and I left it there, and I kind of forgot about it. Well, just a week or two ago, so last couple weeks of 2020, after Christmas but before New Year's, guy pulls into my driveway. Never met this guy before. He says, "Hey, I drive by. I'm not trying to snoop or anything, but I've seen that truck sitting on the back of your property. I'm wondering if you're looking to sell it." And he's a junker scrapper. And I go, "Yeah, I'm willing to consider it. I'm not doing anything with it." I had always thought maybe I would get it running again, or I would scrap it myself, or maybe try to sell it to somebody for parts. But this guy, serendipitous guy shows up. He's like, hey, I'm looking to buy it. He looks it over with me, asks me if I have a clean title, which I did. And he goes, I'll give you $150. Now I know that truck is probably worth $400 to $500 scrap. So I'm looking at it like, I don't have to do anything with it. It's out of my hair. I haven't done anything with it in 2 years. Yeah, man, you got a deal. So, honorable mention, sold a truck, $150. Now let's get to the top 5 actual items we resold. So we purchased these items explicitly for reselling. Coming in at number 5 was actually also one of the longest tail items we've had, was a P. Buckley Moss lithograph. Now, you can actually watch one of my earlier videos where we picked this up at a thrift store. We had bought 5 at the time. This was the largest of all 5. It was also the last one we still had. We paid $15 per, and we sold this for $100 plus shipping. So, we had it listed for $150. We'd been sitting around for so long, nobody had bought it yet. We got a $100 offer plus shipping. We said, yep, it's yours. Get it out of our house. Brought our total profit, that's after fees, cost of goods, everything. Total profit came in at $75.21. Item number 4 came from a Target pallet. There's a couple other items here that we'll talk about. When we get Target pallets, we generally say every item costs $2. Just baseline. We get about 250 items per pallet. We spend around $500. I'm not going to every single pallet figure out exactly how many items I had and what the cost of goods per item was. So we just say $2 an item. This Ada coffee table we sold on Facebook Marketplace with a local pickup for $80. So after cost of goods, which is the only thing we had to pay there, $78. So great turnaround for us. Item number 3. This is the second thrifted item that we have. This was thrifted back in January of 2020, and it was listed and sold within 1 day. It was a pair of Chanel heels, and we sold this on Poshmark. Cost of goods was $3. We sold them for $120, bringing our profit after fees and cost of goods, taxes, all that, to $93. So great pickup there, and that's why when we can, as things get back to normal, and we can take the kids, that's the biggest thing, is obviously we can still go to a thrift store and wear the mask and do all that stuff, but we're not really hip to bringing our children to the thrift stores yet. But as we can get back to that, we will still go thrifting. That'll still be a big part of our business, and you should diversify where you source from, so that's always important. Moving on to item number 2, second most profitable item we sold in 2020. We sold a set of 6 shoebox lights. These are Hyper Icon brand. I bought a pallet of Amazon lighting. So the cost of goods for all of them we're saying is $25. We sold them for $120 and the buyer paid shipping. This is on eBay. Our profit after fees and all that stuff, we said was $106.62. So we're finally hitting that triple digit on profit. This lighting palette was a good palette. My video has not done very well, but it's not interesting stuff though. It was a good palette. Some of these items we're gonna be holding on to probably for a long time. And generally we say after about a year, we kind of start to consider other avenues for getting rid of stuff. The good thing about this lighting stuff is I feel like I could repalletize it and maybe send it to an auction and get rid of it that way. And we're already profitable on this palette. Not by much, but by a little bit. So anything we sell, if we get to a year out, which will be almost a year from now, and we haven't sold everything, and we auction off the rest for say $30, $40, that's still profit. I'm willing to take that. We got it at such a low cost that it was viable for us, and we wanted to try it out. All right, so our number 1 item we sold in 2020. This also came on a Target liquidation pallet. It came on the first ever Target liquidation pallet we bought. And so again, cost of goods, gonna say it was $2. We sold this for $359.99. $359.99. That's on eBay. We paid the shipping. So this item was a brand new in-box breast pump. It's like a smart breast pump, Wi-Fi enabled, all that stuff. I don't know too much about it, to be honest. We were actually surprised because breast pumps are weird because you can usually get them through insurance providers. Granted, you're not getting a smart breast pump. You're going to get just kind of the basic model. We have 3 kids. We kind of know how it goes. And we just assume everybody gets the cheap ones that they get. Blown away by what that sold for, $359.99. So our profit after because again, we paid shipping on that, fees and all that, was $304.40. And that's why I love these Target pallets, because our cost of goods are so low that any item like this, you sell it for $360, you're walking away with $300 in your pocket because your cost of goods is basically non-existent. Yeah, we paid shipping on this and then, a little bit for insurance and all that stuff. Totally worth it. Amazing turnaround. Really happy with that buy. Such a quick flip, listed and sold within 24 hours. Awesome. Awesome find, awesome flip. Really happy with that. So that's our top 5 sales of 2020. Really hoping to do even better in 2021. We're going to continue buying the Target pallets and all that stuff. Hopefully, I'll have a lot of fun with that. So now I'd like to get into the biggest mistake we made in 2020. And it was a doozy. So here in America, United States of America, we got stimulus checks in the early days of the pandemic. Now, we're a family of 5, so we got a large stimulus check. Because I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was something like $1,000 per adult and $500 per kid. So you can do the math. So we were fortunate enough in the pandemic that I did not lose my job. I was able to work from home. Actually, I'm still working from home for the most part. I go in occasionally. And we decided to take our stimulus money and invest it in the business. When we started this business, we started with a $20 investment and some of our kids' clothes that they had outgrown. And that's it. That's the entirety of the investment we've made in this business. And it's become a very viable job for my wife. Something she's been able to do while being a stay-at-home mother, but also earning good income for the family. So we decided for the first time ever, because it was essentially free money for us, to invest it back into the business. And kind of looked around, and we had been talking about the liquidation pallets. We had known about them for a long time, but we had never pulled the trigger on that, just because we were doing well on thrifting, and it matched the volume we could handle. My wife mostly sold clothing, women's clothing, because it was something she knew and understood, and had built up a large knowledge base over the last few years on. So in looking around, we found from Quick Lots a 500-piece designer clothing pallet. So I don't know the exact numbers. I'd have to look them up. Maybe I'll flash them on the screen here. But we spent roughly $4,000 on this pallet, bringing our cost of goods to around $8 an item. We ordered it early on in the pandemic, and we were told right away that shipping time might be doubled. Shipping time on the website was listed at 7 business days. So 14 business days is what we're expecting. It ended up being about a month and a half till they even shipped the item. And of course, there were some delays in shipping. We were trying to be understandable of the pandemic, but it just wasn't happening. And when every time we contacted them, they would move the line, Well, it's actually not 14 days because of everything. We're gonna say it was 20 days, or we're gonna say it was 30 days. And every time we contacted them, they just moved that line a little further out until finally they did ship it. When we got it, we were so excited. First few items we pull out, we're looking at $1,200 price tags, like on some of these clothing. Some of these pieces of clothing, which is awesome. But as we look deeper, almost everything was severely damaged. The advertisement for the pallet said new with tags. Now, they also say, you could get some damaged items. They have a threshold for what's an acceptable amount of damage. Well, as we were going through it on our first pass, we were looking at maybe 15% completely unsellable items, and then up to 50% damaged items or not as advertised. Because I think they said the minimum price, retail price of every item would be at least $25. And we're finding $15 and $20 items. Not a ton, but enough to where at least 50% of the pallet was basically unsellable. And we made a $4,000 investment in this. And granted, it was mostly stimulus money. We had taken a little bit of our tax return to kind of make up the difference. So it wasn't really money we needed, but it's still a lot of money to tie up in this, and we were completely unhappy. So we contact Quick Lots, we go through the whole thing, and basically they tell us to, kick rocks. There's nothing they're going to do about it. They don't care. And it was complete garbage. What's funny is just recently, maybe a month ago, some other reseller on Instagram shared something about Quick Lots, how they were doing mystery boxes or something for designer clothes, and my wife on her Instagram page starts commenting on it like, hey, don't buy from them, they're trash. Well, apparently they had hired kind of an Instagram influencer reseller to run this new program that they're doing, and she reached out to my wife and said, hey, I'm so sorry you had this experience. I'm here now and I'm wanting to do stuff better, and I'd be happy to send you one of those boxes for free. My wife's like, you know what? Awesome. Okay, we'll give you another chance, see what happens, especially if you're offering it for free. She gave her contact info where they could send the box. Yeah, that was a month and a half ago. We've got no box. No other contact. So that's not happening. So what I see there is Quick Lots is still Quick Lots. I'll never buy from them again. If anyone ever asks me about them, I'll tell you how our experience was. We didn't throw $4,000 away because we'll make that money back, but it's going to take us forever to get that $4,000 back. And our goal is typically to double our money at least. But I don't think we'll get anywhere close to that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if our return on investment on that is less than $1,000. Like, what an awful buy. One of the biggest financial mistakes the biggest financial mistake I've ever made in my life. And it sucked. And it really actually turned us off on these liquidation pallets. So much so that, like, we almost didn't do the first Target pallet we got just because we didn't trust it. There's so much damaged goods that you can get. But again, as just sourcing has been so hard in 2020, we eventually bit the bullet. And these Target pallets have been great. And we found other opportunities for sourcing, and we're going to continue to do those. So, lesson learned. We'll take that. We'll move forward and hopefully not make that mistake again. I definitely don't see myself ever investing that much money in that few of items ever again. So, move on. Mistakes are made. We got to learn from those. Try new things. That leads us to now 2021. It's currently January 2nd. And I want to talk about the goals we're setting for ourselves in this new year. I mentioned earlier we live on a 4-acre old farmstead. One thing we really want to do here this year is build a warehouse for this, because we'd like to start getting truckloads delivered here so we could unbox those and sell. And also have a place, because we're doing a lot of Facebook Marketplace and we're doing local pickup, but it's people coming up onto our porch. And they'd still be coming to our home, but it'd be like a slightly separate entity. The other thing is, man, this Target stuff is great and we're selling it, but we get so much of it and it's just taking over our house. And, before it was my wife was just doing a little bit here and there, and she had a room dedicated to that. But now I'm working from home. My kids are going back and forth between remote learning and in-person learning, and we're all on top of each other. So getting a building built, I've kind of drafted one already in a 3D software by a company that builds them. So we'll start contacting people in the next couple weeks, having them come out here, checking the site where we want to build it. I have an old barn I'll need to tear down that's currently there and hopefully get that built in 2021. Now, the goal is that the business, which is a separate entity, legally a separate entity, will pay us rent. The building will increase the property value here at the property, so it's an investment in us for the long term. It's an income generating item technically because the business will pay us rent for that. So, you know, it's a good idea for us. It's a good idea for the business, and it should make us happier because we won't be on top of each other. And it'll also allow us to expand the business, scale the business up and down as needed. So that's one of our biggest goals in 2021. Another goal we want to do is we want to get a cargo trailer. You know, we've rented a trailer once. I have to drive about 3.5 hours to the source where I pick up the target pallets in person. So I'd like to get a trailer because that cost for us is around $100. Our kids aren't old enough to stay at home by themselves. With COVID and stuff, we're not really hip on getting babysitters. So we're taking them with us. We gotta buy food for 5 people for at least 2 meals because we're leaving at like 5 or 6 a.m. And so just getting that trailer means rather than having to go every week or every other week, we can maybe go once a month, get 5 or 6 pallets, come back and be good for a month. The last goal, as far as the reselling business we want to go for is, you know, I mentioned this is like year 3 or 4 of my wife doing this. We've barely taken any money from the business. We've barely paid ourselves for all the work we've done. I mentioned, you know, we started this business with $20 and some old clothes from our kids, and we grew it into something where we can go buy a $500 pallet and not bat an eye at the investment. And that's been amazing, but we've only done that because we've basically been able to afford to reinvest every dollar we've made up to, you know, recently. And so now my wife is starting to pay herself a salary. And so our goal in 2021 is, you know, as I continue to have my full-time job, which I don't plan on giving up anytime soon, is to really move from where we're surviving to where we're thriving. Now, we're doing better than surviving. We're pretty comfortable on just my salary. You know, we have everything we need plus a little extra. But there's a lot of things like home improvement projects. I mentioned we live in a 120-year-old house. You know, I'd like to put siding on it. There's always repairs to be made. Like I said, we want to put up a building. There's old concrete pads in the back that we need to have taken out. You know, stuff like that. Or going on a vacation, you know, with 3 kids going somewhere like Disney World or something gets really expensive. So, you know, being able to do things like that with this extra income we're earning from the side business. So we'll be able to survive off my income, and then my wife's income from the reselling business, that's where we'll thrive. So moving from surviving to thriving in 2021. That's the goal. And I guess one other little goal I'd like to talk about is with these YouTube videos, like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier, this is a hobby for me. Just something I like to do on the side. I don't really want to make any goals, stressful goals for myself when it comes to YouTube. Sort of subscriber accounts or number of likes or views or whatever. I'm just having fun making these videos. I don't expect many people to watch this video, to be honest. If you have watched to this point, comment down below. Let me know that you've watched this this far, because I don't expect many people to do that, if any. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just trying to hold myself accountable for what we're going to do in the coming year. But I will set one YouTube goal. I don't think it's super stressful. I won't be super upset if I don't keep up with it. But my goal is to release 1 video a week. So, whether most of those will probably be pallet unboxing videos, but I doubt we'll buy 52 pallets in the next year. So, I'll have to come up with some creative ideas for other videos. If you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments below. Again, I don't know that anyone will see this part of the video, but let me know. And that's where we're at. That was 2020, a look back. 2021, a look forward. Really hoping to knock it out of the park this year. We've already bought a pallet. I unboxed it 2 days ago on New Year's Eve, and you know that was it's a good one, and that'll be next week's video. So definitely look out for that. And thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.